Hey everyone, today I'm gonna tell you how to win Osiris League. Well, it's of course not that easy, but I'm gonna give you a bunch of tips and tricks that will definitely help. We will do this based on a match that has happened, 4089 versus 6GTT, because I think it's a perfect example, and we'll go over everything that they do in order to get as much as possible points as needed. And this match was one of the most, insane matches, almost flawless matches from both sides, so that's why we use this match as a reference. This isn't the Global Champions Grand Prix match, by the way, it is another one that has happened this season. I will be going over every single move that they do, pretty much every single one, so stay tight and be ready to learn with me. Let's start with phase 0. This starts 10 minutes before the match and it ends when the match starts. We have got the summary there and the difficulty should be easy. Get members on voice, activate alliance skill, and what else did we have? Oh yeah, like check your commanders, talents, and that sort of stuff. And also set these skills in the correct order, the ones that you want, the ones that you should use. It fluctuates a little bit what top teams use, but they don't use the first skill, the second skill barely being used, and the last skill barely being used as well. They instead use total vision, or sometimes defensive buff, sometimes like stocking up, as you can see there. Heaven's Grace and Bog Down are the other usual options that we see, and that's basically it. That's stage 0. So for this match, we'll be going over a ton of stats, a ton of things. One thing is starting with the save zone. As you can see here, we're watching 489, the other side blue is 6UGT. This was when they were fighting for the 5th title for GT or a second title for 489, right? And there is already something important. Port order when entering safe zone. Medium important. As you can see, you have 3 members in front in a pyramid shape, and you have a bunch of members here porting in. Those members are being called out on Discord one by one, and the reason why is, well, it makes sense. You want the inner lane in that front team, the front 2 rows, right? You want the inner lane there because they can just go up to their structures, then suicide, then head to mid fight. If you put them in the back of the pack, like the ones that we can see porting now, if you put them there, then they gotta march longer, which is not beneficial when you need to go to mid. So that's the kind of reason why. So the ones afterwards don't really matter as much, right? Phase 1, safe zone opening, summary, tier 1, suicide move, precision porting, etc. Difficulty hard, because it's very complicated. So you have the timer, and this is the information. 1.1, leave safe zone. 1.1.1, field players should bring their slowest unit out first, and then the quickest last. So Argent first, then Cav. Garrison leaders pretty much the same. You can bring garrisons first, or bring them to the obelisk rallies and let them join the other structure from them. That's in principle, it's pretty easy to do this. You just gotta get the timings right. You can see a lot of archers infantry there. That's kind of what I pointed out, right? Boom, this is the first 2 seconds. Boom, we get infantry. You see a lot of infantry marches, archer marches first, right? That's what you gotta do. So right after the gate opens, your alliance coordinator is gonna activate energetic, which will give you 150% more energy points whenever you gain energy points. So like 2 more before the first mid fight. This is pretty easy to do. As you can see right here, we bring out those marches and you can see boom, energetic for both teams. So it is purely the best skill. You're gonna have 2 extra skill points in the first mid fight. Then at the same time, the rally leads will open a rallies on obelisk, and there are multiple or 1 garrison leads in each rally to join the garrison. You can see those rallies going up there, right in the corner. Boom, 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 4. And all of that happened in the first 15 seconds. Imagine that. So you're gonna leave that safe zone. You're gonna march to your buildings, which will be in the next screenshot as well. And there is tier 1 that will occupy both the obelisks, right, with that talent tree, as you can see right there. It's going to be quick, because the quicker you're there, the quicker you're marching, etc. You're going to march to these structures, the desert altars right there, and, well, in the top left corner is what you see what you're going to march to. So that's what you can see right here, actually. Boom, obelisk, obelisk, for both teams, and everyone is marching to their assigned structure. And GT is copying pretty much the same tactic here. So that's what you see happening right now in, well, speed up. And then it's time for the first fights, also known as the Desert Altar fights. And meanwhile, Garrison March go to the safe structures that you could see there. And when the structures unlock, there's big battle right before the structures unlock, and boom, you want to win those fights. There is Desert Altar fight tips: attack Juge first, and once the march is ready, you want to switch target to a white or yellow march. After these fights, we have the suicide cycle. If you win, you try to occupy enemy next structure. If you lose, you want to return to safe zone or the cities. And if you win that as well, you will suicide on the enemy city. Then there is a port order. You want a semicircle. In the outside lane is going to go on everything outside this box, and the two inside are garrisons. And eventually you'll move on more teams from this inner lane team that is still there. Same on GT side, there at the top, you can see those 12 or whatever they are, 14. Those are the inside team. Here you see the Red Marches doing the suicide move on the Shrine of War, and if they win, they go to the obelisk to kill themselves for a fast mid-cycle, which starts in phase 2. Duration 50 minutes on the clock till 15 minutes on the clock. Summary: if you lose mid, you take buildings. If you win mid, use a mid-cycle to delay your enemy. And you're gonna repeat this over and over and over, right? So as you can see here, we see a bunch of marches returning very fast, the suicide cycle that I talked about. And we see a lot of marches vroom all going to the mid at more or less 5 minutes on the clock remaining. So that's what you can see right here. There is no rallies in the top or in the bottom corner. You see none of them. And we're preparing for the first mid fight. You're all gathering up, following a ball. Be efficient as well. Be coordinated in one ball, which you can see here. And boom, activate skills. Usually Dust Up, To the Death, Wardrooms, Bog Down, Heaven's Grace, Total Vision. It's usually 2 or 3 of these 6 skills combined in mid-cycle. Here are a few rules for the mid-fight. Target Juger Herman first, switch targets regularly to prevent the rage reset, don't kill red marches, kill yellow white first, attack nearby targets only, difficulty master, because you can always improve on this, even 6GT can. As you can see here, 489 absolutely wiped 6GT here, because, well, insane field, maybe talent trees, skills were better in my opinion as well. Now I'm gonna show you a famous or very important part of leaving this site. And this is what you gotta do. It seems very complicated. It is pretty complicated. Just read it through. I cannot read all of it. It's gonna be too much time. Just pause the video, read it through. This is what you gotta do. If you win mid, you gotta do these 3 steps. And if you lose mid, which can happen as well, you have 3 other steps that you need to take in order to compensate for your loss, right? In short, the one to win mid should play more defensively, and the one to lose mid should play very aggressively, try to get both the altars. So the winning party should defend those altars, and the losing party should try to occupy those altars for at least 3.5 minutes. If you had paused it and read it, you read about my 4-team split up, which you can see right here. Top left team doesn't really have a lot of marches left, but you can see 4 nice arms in here, like octopus arms. There is one guy probably escorting that arc, just in case, but the rest just goes defensively. Try to defend your own desert altar on the bottom side, and meanwhile pushing your enemy structures on the top side to prevent them from pushing in too much, right? Let's watch that a bit more sped up. So that's gonna look like this. It's a bit wobbly. And if you read that theory, you can see the delay on both sides, those red marches, and the goal for red is to defend your own altars, because they generate the most points, right? And that's what you can see here. Delay your enemy. This is part of the theory that you have read before, if you did that. So pause it again, read it again, make sure you understand. So that is what was happening in the meantime. Let's speed this up to the next point, which should be delivering the arc, and later on, within like 2-3 minutes, balancing the structures again. Then you're gonna use energetic once it becomes available again. let's see, this is what I meant with the defending of your own structure. Your low mid marches help defend here, and you try to set face them in order to get healthy marches back to the side. Meanwhile, you need CCs with Ethel or Caesars in order to fill those structures. You'll have those from the inside lane team, meaning the ones from their safe zone, and some already ported, of course, at the obelisk, which should fill as well. Meanwhile, you should get the field there, try to defend against the structure. And with this phase 2.5, the balancing phase, you have this theory. You gotta read all of this, pause the video again. In this balance phase, you see usually like 1 or 2 times you see the banana swing move, as I have called it. It isn't a name, but well, I made this name for it. Basically, you go from Desert Altar with the outside lane team, sometimes some inside lane members as well, and you go to their Desert Altar, which you can see right here. I'll speed it up for you. So yeah, you have this banana move, and it's basically to prevent pressure, and meanwhile you push as well. So you see here, they did the banana move, but 6GT got into action there. They got into the Desert Altar, did big swarm, but I think 49 messed up and they lost the structure. So they did the banana move a little bit too late actually, and meanwhile, or they didn't get enough set phases, so it wasn't really a good move this time. Maybe next time they do it better. Let's keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, we prepare for another round of mid fights, which you can see right here. We see boom, boom, boom. Everyone's going to mid. And the current state of the buildings is even. It's equalized. 6GT didn't really manage to get a hold of the structures for so long, so 49 did a very well job. We see a mid fight, and 489 had the better skills here, or just better skill in mid-fight, doing it themselves, like individual skill. And boom, won the arc again. And we see the same cycle that I just explained, right? Those 4 arch or tentacles, and they're trying to take structures, delaying the enemy. Here we go again, defending the Desert Altar with those troops, getting set face, that's why you see quick returns, and sending new marches. This time around, they managed to keep the structure. They kept reinforcing very well, and this is a total masterclass. You got new field in, prevent the swarms from getting your structures. It's insane. You just have to have people reinforcing with those marches, getting the troops in, meanwhile getting the swarmers in. Always swarm the rally first, and swarm the healthy marches, the white ones, you know, the base rules. So let's speed it up again. We see another banana move now, the start of it. Let's speed it up. Well, wait, we see another energetic. Remember, I told you, you want to spam those, you want to gain those energy points for every mid-cycle. Spoiler alert, this banana move is going to be insanely well managed. This time you got some troops on the bottom side as well, and you got some more troops on the inside lane defending the Desert Altar, because more troops could teleport towards their obelisk, right? As you can see on the left side, that structure, on the right side the structure doesn't flip, the Desert Altar up the bottom, and the Sky Altar, as you can see right here, does flip. Oh, they lost their own Desert Altar as well, but that isn't such a big deal. Basically because it's much easier to get the ball running there and occupying the Desert Altar again. As you can see here, delay, which is one of the very important principles in the Osiris League. They're doing the ball a little bit over where, well, a little bit past the Sky Altar, right? So you see now 6GT managing, oh no, 49 is making a ball again, and they're about to swarm the Desert Altar back. And if it flips earlier than 6GT can flip their Sky Altar, then you made profit, right? Well, in this case, it didn't, did it? No, 6GT managed to get the upper hand here. Meanwhile, they also managed to put some pressure on the Shrine of Life, flipping it. So 6GT did a little better. You see another banana move right here. Was this one better then? just delaying. This time 60GT cannot push the Desert Altar, as you can see on the right side. There's no ball there. And 489 keeps swarming it, putting pressure and preventing 60GT from attacking their own Desert Altar in mid. On the top side, there isn't much happening right now because they're preparing for the third mid cycle, which will be, I think, the last mid cycle. Not entirely sure. No, I think there will be one more in this match. So 489 really decided we want as much arcs as possible because we know we can beat 60GT in mid. So that's why they deliver them pretty quickly, and they say 60GT, you can have some occupation score, that's fine. In this mid fight again, 60GT loses mid, which wasn't really normal back then. It was a bit closer though, but eventually 489 managed to steal the arc. And well, these few arcs that I just shown, the last like 5 minutes that I've talked, most of it is theory that you already know, that I already told you. We see another move with those arches, those 4 teams, delay, and this time it's a little bit different because 60GT is trying to chase the arc, so they're going more on an inside lane focus, and they forgot to swarm the Desert Altar on the way of reaching the arc, which was maybe a small mistake, but it doesn't really matter anymore because, well, 49 already knows we have won this match. So we cannot really use this as, or the last few minutes as proof or as education, like what should we do? Well, maybe in case you lose an arc or your arcs get attacked. I think if you're so close to your own obelisk, you don't really care, right? You don't really care about losing the arc. You just have a bunch of players send their troops out. The support lines are way too long for the enemy to get that arc back, usually. 9 out of 10 times. Just make sure they don't have the teleport skill. But yeah, you should always be careful, of course. But usually people are way too careful and they could have put some more pressure on buildings. Towards the end game, if it's really close, there's always these players that don't have many troops left. So those players should just not be doing much field fighting. Like, yeah, 1 or 2 marches probably, but they rather should go and farm, because, well, some matches are decided with caravan farming. So what you can do is you can use that farm skill that you have, but I would just prefer have a bunch of guys farming these final nodes that you can see right there. There's a bunch, you see these white dots. Those are nodes that are being gathered by the teams trying to get an edge over each other, but 8k difference, it's too much. 60GT already knows we cannot win this, but towards the end of the match you kind of want some extra security, you want some of these caravans, right? But I think this video was pretty much it for today. I think we've talked about pretty much everything. It was a lot of information for all of you. I hope your brain is still alive. Honestly, maybe I don't think so, because it's really a ton of information. And there is way more information actually that we don't know about, some micromanaging. Like, I could try to find out every single talent tree and every single little movement or every single little prioritize movement in balls and such, but it's so micromanaging at that point. So I think this was it. With that, we see victory for 489. We're just quickly going over the marching theory once again. Okay, you have initial marching lines right here. You go mostly inner lane focus. You go to the desert altars, and you go to the structures that are encircled. Then, after you take those structures, and if you win, you take those orange arrows and you try to occupy enemy structures. If you already occupied them, you want to suicide and return to your safe zone. That is, if you're inside lane, your troops are gonna return to the safe zone. If you're outside lane, your troops are gonna return to your city, which is on an obelisk. And then you're gonna prepare for mid-fight. Then of course you're entering mid, and here you have the green and purple arrows are full teams because they get first priority port, and the red or blue teams have some members already port there and some are still in the safe zone, depending also if it's first, second or third arc. Gradually there are of course more ported, right? If you win, you have this mid-cycle. The outside lane teams go to the upper side. Well, on the blue side actually, the blue team could go with the purple team because you want a quick return. It's very hard to explain that. Your inside lane, Desert Altar, you want to let them die pretty quickly, but you want to defend against the structure, as I mentioned before. You want to defend and hold. That's what you're trying to do. You want to hold your structures because your enemy will try to push those structures. So that's the goal. But there's also a high possibility, that you will lose the mid fight. In that case, you'll start all over and you got to do this. So red inside lane team, you have to defend against the enemy that does that little attack on your obelisk, wait man, desert altar, right? And then you're gonna push together at the enemy sky altar, and same story with the blue purple team. You're going to defend your Shrine of War first, but it's not usually that much troops, and then you're gonna go full pressure against the desert altar, and you want to try to occupy them for 2.5 minutes, right? So, oh, this is the better screenshot of the two, but this is basically the plan for the entire match actually. Then you can use a banana move, the banana swing move. You can also do it in reverse, but it's on for the upper side, you know, but that's not being used that much. So in that case, the blue team would go from their sky altar to the enemy desert altar, so in reverse, but that's not being used that much since they just go straight away. So in short, if you won arc, you kind of want this situation, you want to keep the structures pretty even. If you lose arc, you want to move that line a little bit down to your enemy, you want some extra structures. So in short, you can do the strategy like this. I don't know if that's a good conclusion. But yeah, this is like a sort of heat map of where your troops are gonna be the most. That was it for today. That was the Osiris League breakdown. If you want to be an Osiris League winning alliance, you should at least adopt a lot of these things, right? Maybe ask a few things here and there to 60GT. I might have missed a few things that are influential or things that we just simply don't know. But I think this is like 80% of all the information that we could have gotten from them. So if you enjoyed it so far and if you learned something new, please join Discord, which is in the comments. Leave a like and sub because there was a lot of work in this video. See you in the next one.